Cole Frampton. How's lockdown life treating you? Two kids running about?
Uh, I think that's the hardest thing, trying to keep the kids occupied. Um, I'm in a lucky enough situation that I've a bit of space around me. I live kind of countryside, nice garden and stuff. So we done a big walk today with the family. The weather's okay, so we're just trying to make the most of it, really. I suppose a wee bit luckier than most that I have a bit of space to run about, and the kids can they don't get too bored.
From a boxing perspective, is it more frustrating for you in that you've had problems with injuries? You've probably got more fights behind you than ahead of you at this stage of your career, it's fair to say. Has this come at a bad time, basically?
Well, not really. If you think of who my next opponent is going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jamel Herring. It's agreed. Obviously, hopefully things don't change and that fight continues and it does get made eventually. But I boxed more recent than him. I'm younger than him. Um, and a fight with Jamel, I think these things probably suit me a little bit more. So it's not that frustrating really because we're all in the same situation. So we just have to deal with it and get on.
And before all this lockdown happened, the main bone of contention regarding the Herring fight seemed to be whether it was going to be outdoors or indoors. Has there been any kind of progress on that in the meantime?
That's kind of that's not an issue anymore really. That was my biggest concern whether it was going to be the Odyssey or the SFC Arena. I don't think the fight's going to happen anytime in the near future. If it doesn't happen, kind of you probably got till very early September that it only allows you to go outdoor.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening for them, and then uh, you have to go indoor. So I think it most likely rules Winsor Park out now, um, and whether it even happens here now as well as another whether it happens here or it happens in America, who knows? Like our government, the British government, are given one set of guidelines. The American government is completely different as well. So we may ease the restrictions here a little bit, and it's still in place in America, which doesn't suit Jamel to travel. So it's just got to wait, I think, until the world calms down really before we even think about fighting.
I suppose the plus side of that is you've had your big Windsor Park event, obviously against Luke Jackson. Couldn't have gone much better in the ring as well as the atmosphere itself. So you don't have to kind of keep chasing that dream anymore. You've achieved it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I think that if it had been something that I've been waiting on and it hadn't came about, it would have been a different scenario. But I've done Windsor Park and I've done it and I loved it. I would love to do it again, but I have done it and it's something I can always look back fondly on. But I have for me to be fighting after losing to Josh Warrington, and the year that I've had and the finish off with a win, to be fighting for a world title, um, I'm in a good position, and I have to give credit to MPK for getting me in that position. So yeah, I'm in a good position now, but it's just about waiting and biding my time like everyone else, and hopefully the fight comes off, and I'm pretty sure.
I think you have to take some of the credit yourself as well. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke or anything, but you're a huge attraction. You know, at the gate and on TV, you've always drawn ratings wherever you've gone. So I think opportunities for a fighter like that are always going to be there pretty much, and you've done well to make the most of them.
Well, thanks very much. It's kind of you to say, but I suppose that's the business we're in. It's about putting bombs on seats and ratings on TV, and I always do pretty well. So the promoters will want to put you on their shows because of that. I suppose that a little bit of a yeah. I suppose I'm in a position where I should be. I lose a good fight against the George Warrington. I shouldn't be too far away from another one title fight just because of the popularity. That may sound harsh to some, but that's the reality of boxing. It took me a while though after the Leo Santa Cruz fight. I had to go around the houses. I felt like to get a world title shot. So I think I'm due a little bit of luck in this game at this point.
Well, after the injury in the hotel and obviously the opponent who fell in the shower as well, I mean, You've had your fair share of bad luck as well, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I've had plenty of it, and the book will be good. That's for sure.
I'll look forward to it. Tell us what you can tell us about Jamel Herring. We obviously know his credentials and his character as well. He's a former Marine, of course. What can you tell us about him as a boxer and how his style matches up with yours?
Well, I think he's a good fighter. I've been watching. I've been using this lockdown to watch him a fair bit. So I've been watching him a fair amount. It's something I don't normally do. Study fighters that much. I watch a little bit, but I've been watching him a little bit more. But probably just suppose because of the current situation that we're all in. But he's a good fighter. He's very tall. He's a nice boxer. Southpaw, which brings its own problems. But then you add the 6 inch height advantage in, that brings another set of problems. But he's a nice boxer. He hasn't got the fastest feet in the world. He doesn't punch that fast. There is times in fights where he likes to cruise, so he doesn't like to exert himself if he doesn't have to. And I think that's all probably down to the weight issue. Like, I think he really struggles to make the weight because he's so big. Um, but his height and he's a good boxing brain as well, and very mentally strong. So these are all attributes that he has. But there's no such thing as a perfect fighter, and I believe there's ways to beat him.
And the opportunity to become Ireland's first ever three-weight world champion, is that added incentive or added pressure? Bit both?
Well, a bit of both, and I think pressure is okay. I don't mind fighting under a bit of pressure, but the incentive really to go down in history and become the only ever three-weight world champion in Ireland is huge, and that's something that I think about quite a lot. That's something that I would be. It's kind of like it's one of them ones where when you're long and gone, and your kids can talk about it, and they can talk about it to their kids. How your granddad was a three-weight world champion in the first ever. That is real history making stuff, and it's something that motivates me a lot and pushes me for greatness, really. And it's probably you're knocking on the door of the Hall of Fame as well. Then if you become a three-weight world champion against legitimate players, so I these are all things that I'm striving for.
And you mentioned about the impact on your kids and then future generations. How much are your kids kind of aware of what you do now and are into it as well?
No, they're really aware, especially my daughter who's 9. She's aware, and she's been to a few fights. Both of them were in New York when I fought Leo Santa Cruz as well. But my wee boy, the only fight he really remembered was he losing to Josh Warrington up until the last fight. So I think I don't think he thought it was very good for a while, because the only fight that he remembers I lost in. So
Right, yeah.
it's important. It's important that just they'll grow up and they'll understand, and I've done quite a lot. Great, I'm sure they'll be proud. But um, the little girl does know, the little boy a little bit. He knows a bit.
How much are you missing the lads at the gym and obviously Jamie as well and Nigel?
A lot. The boys are. It's a great gym to be involved in. We train pretty hard, and train very serious. But there's always that kind of bit of fun element to it, and banter. Banter is a word that I don't like to use, but I've just used it there. Uh, But it's good crack. The boys are good laugh, and we've had Dave Allen as well, who's just linked up. So I'm genuinely excited about my first training session with Dave Allen. So it's going to be good to get back.
Have you had any sort of indication? I mean, no one really knows what's going on, but just from what you've heard from promoters or MTK or whoever, when things might
No,
start to get going? No.
I haven't, and I've purposely not asked because there's more important things in the world going on at the minute. So I haven't been annoying MTK or Frank or Pat Frank with these questions. But I think just when it's safe to do so is when we do it. But I want to be realistic here. If it happens before the end of the year, then I suppose I'm happy enough for that. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Also, I've got a family holiday plan which we're hoping for in August. After this lockdown, the last thing you want to be doing is cancelling family holidays. So if we
Sure.
can't squeeze a fight in before mid-August, then I think my priority would be to do that with my kids and my wife, and then hopefully squeeze a fight in before the end of the year.
You talked about the bigger picture. Obviously, it's in all our thoughts. What are you seeing out there in Belfast, in Northern Ireland generally, in terms of the NHS and how people are struggling and the restrictions of the lockdown as well? Because we only see it over here, obviously. But what's it been like for you guys?
I think it's probably similar. Where I live is kind of outside Belfast, outside Lisburn, where I'm about 8 miles from Belfast. So I'm in a little bit of countryside. Very little traffic on the roads. I do my road running. Very little traffic. Very few people about. The shops were queuing up like everyone else. You see that you read reports of young kids, especially, kind of not listening to the guidelines and going out with groups of friends and stuff. Which I think if you're a parent, you should try your best to stop that from happening. But I suppose we're the same as everywhere else. But me and my family have been in this isolation period now from just before St Patrick's Day. So um, we're I think we're about 4 weeks now, something like that. So we're well into it now, and it's getting hard, but you just have to deal with it.
Any hobbies you've taken up that maybe you haven't had time to indulge in before?
I've just started to learn how to play the guitar. So
Yeah.
I've got a guy who you will know but wants to remain anonymous. Is teaching me. And I've got a little app as well that I've been using. But I've had a few days off. It's hurt my fingers there for a while because I've just got started to get into it. So I've had a few days off, but I need to get back on the horse here.
Brilliant. Is that something you've always wanted to do?
Always wanted to do it. I asked my wife to buy me it. She was out looking at the birthday or Christmas present, and she asked what did I want, and I said a guitar. But that was 10 years ago. So I've just started to try and learn.
Ah, brilliant. Well, at least you're making the most of your time.
Yeah, trying to do my best. I'm training as well. I've got a bit of a gym set up in my garage. I can hit a bag and
Yeah, she is making a
the
cameo.
Christine just walked in the back. Yeah. So I've got a bag. I've got a full squat rack and plenty of weights I've been doing this new KO weight like TRX type training that NPK are linked up with as well. So I've been training every day and I suppose just trying to keep my belly off really until I'm a little bit more serious.
Brilliant. And just before I let you go, just tell us a little bit about the show you've been doing for a while now with Chris Lloyd. I've seen a few of the episodes, really enjoyed it, and it seems like it's really gaining some traction.
Yeah, it is, and we're getting it's important. I suppose I was speaking to Chris about this, maybe potentially doing a little episode just like we're doing now and talking over Skype. We need to try and keep momentum really, because it's decent and it's to be honest, Danny, it's the easiest job in the world for me. Chris does all the research. Chris does everything. He knows boxing. He's like a real boxing brain. He knows boxers. He knows boxing. He knows how to talk about it. He knows how to interact with people. And I turn up and butt in every now and again. So uh, it's the easiest job in the world. But Chris kind of runs the show, and it's going well.
It's like you're the looks, he's the brains, that kind of thing.
Pretty much, pretty much.
All right, well, I really appreciate the time. It's good to see you looking so well and seeming in really good spirits.
Thanks, mate. All the best.
Yeah, and to you. And hopefully we'll see each other in real life soon.